What's good, everybody? It's a Saber594 here with another brand new deck featuring some new cards from Paradox Rift. Today's finally the day. We're going to be looking at a deck based on this new Groudon from the latest set. Groudon, one of my favorite legendaries for sure. My first Pokemon game was Ruby, that I owned, not played. But this is a cool card, as cool as they're going to give us for regular Pokemon. The HP is bad, it's that 130 they've been doing since Black and White, pretty much more than 10 years ago. They gotta give massive improvements even to this card, even to these cards, not just the small regular Pokemon. But I digress. The main thing we're gonna take advantage of is the Magma Purge attack. You discard energies, doesn't have to be fighting, even though we're gonna be utilizing fighting in this case. You discard energies and then you can do 60 damage times the energies you discarded. Now, sadly, it does max out to 4, so you can only get 240 damage max, the max damage output you can inflict. But this is a regular Pokemon, this is still a solid damage output. It's not going to one-hit KO Stage 1 and Stage 2 EXs or even the most relevant V-Stars. But we can kill, regular Vs, I guess, regular EXs, and just putting serious pressure for 2-hit KOs, that's still good enough. This is only a regular Pokemon. The first attack, Swelling Power, just gives you fighting energy acceleration from your hand. It's not that good because it doesn't do damage. It should have done like 30 for 1 if it's just going to be from the hand or something. But we gotta take what we gotta take. And that's it. Pretty simple card. The partner in crime is going to be this Claydol card that I like to use a lot. It has a big drawback, forcing you to not run supporter cards if you want to use this. But I've made this sort of engine work before, and it's going to be even easier with this deck. I mean, if I could make Golem somewhat work. This guy just being a basic Pokemon, we don't need to run rare candies and just other cards that fill our deck. We have more space for more consistency and maybe even some extra text. So we max out the Claydol this time, as opposed to just doing a 3-line. And I max out the Baltoy too. I do 2 of the weak-ass one here that could belong in like Gen 3, pretty much. With Find a Friend, this might be something you can do early game to grab a barrel, grab just any Pokemon to just boost your setup, hopefully help you set up. The HP is really weak though. This is really bad against Sableye. This Psychic Baltoy has 70 HP, which isn't all that great, to be honest. It's not that much better, just 20 more HP, but it's higher. It has a worse retreat cost though, and a completely useless attack. So I don't really know if I should run max out the 71 or just max out this smaller one with Find a Friend. I'm doing 2 and 2. Most of the time it's not going to really matter. You don't want to be doing this anyway, but Find a Friend, at least know that this attack exists on this card. So a max Claydol line, and then I got one of the Tinglus as well. So as opposed to doing the 4th Groudon, I decided to put this card in. This is really good. It's much better than using the Stonejourner that just does 190, meant to be used with Claydol. If you use this, you do 220, and that's enough to get some key KOs, so that's pretty good as well. And you don't discard energies, which sometimes it can be it can be good compared to Groudon's effect that you have to discard. Helps us maintain some energies better when we don't have too many Claydols. And the Sandbringer attack is also nice. You can grab 2 fighting energies from the discard pile, attach them to one of your Pokemon. So if you do open with this guy and you're slow with the Claydols, once again, you got some help. It synergizes with the deck at least. Now, if this guy is hurt, then the big attack, Arrogant Impact, is completely useless. And in general, this guy is going to be completely useless. But even with 140 HP, this guy is always going to be dying in one shot. So it doesn't really matter. It's a little bit of a risk, but I decided to put it in as opposed to using the 4th Groudon or just using something else. Those are the attackers, just this guy and Groudons, and then Super Rod to recover them if we have to run out. Everybody else is support. The barrel is crucial for this deck, just like the other Claydol decks that I've showed like this. The engine is just extremely similar. You gotta run this because it's your only way to get mass draw since we don't have supporters. Actually, one alternative you can try if you want to. Let me just type it in. This dude, this sort of elephant-looking thing, I think it's an elephant. Revavroom. I considered running this card, but ultimately I decided the barrel is just a safer option. This lets you draw and to have 6 cards in your hand, but you gotta discard an energy to do the effect. Now, we do wanna discard a lot of energies in this deck, and we do discard a lot of them anyway, so this isn't the worst drawback. You could possibly just pair this with Groudon, and maybe it's gonna give you more synergy. But I decided the barrel is the safest option, maybe when I don't want to discard energy or when I don't have. It has better HP. I guess it has a grass resistance too. The stats really don't matter. And it just gives you a slightly different effect. Letting you draw an extra card, you got to discard energy. I thought I mentioned it if you want to use it. Maybe if you don't have the barrels, you can try this elephant dude. But we still got the barrel in this deck. Gen 4 dude, and the 2 B-doofs, this one with carefree countenance, at least he's protected on the bench, and that's it. The other 2 cards is just mana fee for the bench protection. Have this, you're not always going to bench it down because we need a lot of stuff, we need a lot of our spaces. You know, you want to have at least 3 Claydols, you want to have your attacker, you want to have barrel. You know, you ran out of space already. But depending on what my opponent has, I might have to bench it down. And the Greninja, this is your only other hope for a bit of solid draw and consistency besides the barrel. You're probably going to want to search this if you can't get the barrel. Like if you don't know you're going to get the barrel super quick, you got the Ultra Ball and the Bidoof. You probably want to get this down either way. So it's the Radiant Pokemon of choice. Now, even though this can be kind of a cool regular deck, all regular Pokemon deck, it does have a lot of weaknesses. Not having supporters mean we can't disrupt our opponent with N. If our opponent targets down the barrel, then you're going to be kind of screwed if you don't have a backup or maybe even Greninja. If you don't set up quickly enough, this guy dies, it's the end basically. If these guys are prized, it's the end. A lot of problems. But it's the only way to just make this ability work and power up the Groudon. This guy's so cool. I didn't pull the full art, unfortunately. That's too bad. Too stingy to craft it. I gotta make good use of my crystals for the channel. But yeah, look at this card, Superfly. Anyway, so that's the Pokemon. Trainers. We got a lot of them, but because we got a lot of Pokemon too, it's not as many as in other decks. You max out the Ultra Ball, max out the Nest Ball, max out the Level Ball. Just maximum consistency, at least if we can't have supporters. Might as well max out these balls. Ultra Ball is especially crucial as our most reliable way to get the barrel in hand. And get the Claydols in hand too. I don't really have any other way to get those. So gotta have this as a discard outlet, so it's good enough. I got 2 of the Earthen Vessels too. This card sort of helps this deck. It's a discard outlet and lets you grab 2 basic energy cards. Fighting energies is going to be in this case. And it's pretty nice. It's not going to be as good as Letter. I've said this before on the Goldengo deck. But at least, I mean, the discard outlet, it can help in this deck when you're trying to set up. I guess it's going to get you cards out of hand too. Maybe help for the barrel. So it's a good card. Rather have this as opposed to Energy Search this time. And I got the tracking issues as well. Max this out. Best thing that's not a supporter for draw. You know, you reveal 1. If you don't want it, draw another one. Discard its deck thinning. Great card. And then the Pickaxe, max this out as well. Item based draw. And if we get a few fighting energies from this, it might also help too. And that's really it. I mean, everything else is just a little bit of tech. Double switch, this could be important. We do have some big retreating Pokemon. Then we got the Super Rod for my only form of recovery. Pretty much going to be used for the Groudons, but maybe you grab Tinglu, maybe you grab the Barrels or Claydols if they died, you never know. And then, because we have a little bit of extra space, this isn't like the Golem deck, I decided to put 2 Pokemon catchers as a way to just maybe attempt to pull something. If you get heads on this, you can get a pull. It's the same as boss's orders basically. If you get tails, it's not too bad because this card is broken. We just get it out of the hand and we can just draw more cards with the barrel. So it's fine. It's pretty much the philosophy with the Fusion Strike decks where they can run a bunch of these cards, Cramomatic, and they don't care because if they get tails, they just draw more cards with Genesect. It's broken stuff. It's the same idea with this deck. So put 2 of this. If you want to do something different, you got a different idea, you can put something else in. But pulling is important, especially because when we don't get 1-hit KOs, my opponent's going to retreat their Pokemon, and then if I can't target them down, I'm just basically making worthless attacks. So getting a heads on one of these is going to be crucial. If I could afford, I would do 3, but I got 2. Hopefully we get at least 1 heads at the right time. And that's basically it. The rest of the cards are just 12 fighting energies, enough to have manual attachments and enough to discard a lot for Claydol. That's basically it. So this is the deck. It's pretty much almost the exact same Skeleton that I've used with Golem and maybe even like the Pokemon TCG Online deck that I've made when this card first came out in Silver Tempest. It's pretty simple. I mean, once you got the list, it's just sort of gonna play itself. Just get the barrel out, set up your Claydols, and then hopefully you can get some good kills with Groudon. That's it. So regular anti-meta, you could say rogue deck. Has its problems, but it also works. You'll see in the matches. Hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and share the video with your friends. And I'll see you guys in the matches. What up?